DJ Kutski.
Keep a rave alive. Well, alright.
Yo, what's up? This is MC WizKid, and the noise in the background, I'm not sure what you call it, is apparently DJ Kutski.
Only a few will understand and appreciate what's about to happen.
Anything that's dead.
Keeping the rave alive. This is Max Enforcer, keeping the rave alive with Kutski. We don't dance, we boogie. Hey, this is Endymion. Keep the rave alive with Kutski.
This is Slipknot, keeping the rave alive, and you're listening to the sounds of Kutski.
Get your hands up.
Hey, this is Showtech. This is Technoboy, straight from Italy.
This is DJ Isaac from Holland.
Hey, this is Evil Activities, and you're in tune to Kutski, keeping the rave alive. Kutski, it's Darren Styles. I think it's time to get harder and faster, my friend.
Feel the need to, I got the need to open.
Hey, this is Adero, keeping the rave alive with Kutski.
Yes, welcome back to Keeping the Rave Alive, another landmark show for us to celebrate. It's the 10-year anniversary of the Keeping the Rave Alive podcast, and as the podcast was the start of the Keeping the Rave Alive brand, this is our 10-year anniversary. That's madness, isn't it? On one hand, it feels like a lifetime ago, and another way, it feels like it was just yesterday, doesn't it? But a lot's happened in the past decade, hasn't it? Definitely a lot. I was trying to think what we could do to celebrate the show, but we had our 500th episode, didn't we, not long ago, and I played all my favourite tracks over the past 500 shows, so I don't just want to rehash the same thing again. So I thought what might be fun to do this week is to play some of my personal favourite tracks that hold a lot of nostalgia or fun memories over the last 10 years. And maybe tell a few anecdotes as well as we go along, why those tracks are so nostalgic to me, and not all for positive reasons. I'll get into that later in the show. But first up, thank you as always to all my supporters over on Patreon, patreon.com/KTRA, link in the description wherever you're listening to this show right about now. If you want to get some more Keeping the Rave Alive action in your life each and every week, that's a great place to do so and support me as well at the same time. You guys are truly keeping the rave alive, so yeah, thank you for the support. And on to the show. Okay, so I don't think I've ever really, certainly not on the show, talked about how the Keeping the Rave Alive podcast came about. And it is quite an interesting story, I think, because many of you will be aware that I used to host a weekly show on BBC Radio 1 in the UK. Very high profile. An amazing experience, which I absolutely love. But working with a giant organisation like the BBC, of course, there's a lot of bureaucracy that goes on as well, which was the not so fun side of it. The best example of this was the language. Like, I wasn't allowed to play any tracks with swearing. And one example I can think of is they asked me to play the biggest track of the last 10 years within hardstyle just after, FTS had come out, Showtech FTS. So I was like, well, obviously it was that track in hardstyle. And the BBC said, no way you're playing a track with lyrics with content like that. Pick another one. I was like, well, there's no point in even doing this if we can't actually play the track that is the most relevant in the scene. So they made me go through and manually count every single swear word in there, justify everything to management, and then before we aired the show, I had to do a big statement on the show explaining, there's really strong language with this, or you might be offended. This isn't the views of the BBC or myself. Tune away and come back in 5 minutes if you think you might be offended and all that. I'm like, really? It's just a bit of a fun track. So you can imagine with hard dance music, there was a lot of these arguments going on weekly. But, I won a lot of them. I won a lot of battles, and we got our underground music showcased to the mainstream for many, many years, which was great. But I was also a massive fan of podcasts around this time, just as they were exploding, and I really wanted to make my own podcast. The BBC weren't mad on this. They said there was nothing technically to stop me doing it, but they'd really prefer if I just put all my effort and attention into my BBC show. So I was like, right, okay, message received loud and clear there. I just put the idea on the back burner for a little while, for a few years actually. But as things moved on and the schedules got changed and mixed up and people's show times got changed, I got moved from having a weekly show to being once every 3 weeks. If you ever pay attention to when these schedule changes happen, you see when somebody gets moved to be less frequent or to a worse show time, they're actually getting moved closer to the door before they get the boot out. I was well aware of this at the time, so I was like, right, okay, this is my time now. We strike with the podcast. And the first week that I didn't have a show on BBC Radio 1 was the week that we launched the Keeping the Rave Alive podcast. I juggled both shows for about 2 or 3 years, I think it was, but to be honest, my heart was really in the Keeping the Rave Alive brand. It was my own brand, you know, that we could make merchandise, we could release albums, we could do tour nights. It might not have had the prestige of having, you know, a giant organisation supporting it like the BBC, but there's so many more positives to being independent. Trust me, there really, really is. And then after juggling both shows for, like I said, 2-3 years, something like that, I got the inevitable phone call from, you know, management at the BBC going, oh, we love what you do, but, you know, we just think it's time to freshen things up and bring some... And I think they were expecting, like, some kind of, like, you know, meltdown. But by this time, we had our own brand, we were running our own events, we were running with albums. I was like, cool, when's my last show date? And I was like, cool, nice one, yeah, thanks for everything. Anyway, I'll see you soon, bye. And off to the races we were with Keeping the Rave Alive, full steam ahead. Never look back, it's been great. Like I said, I don't want to talk bad on the BBC with it. It was an amazing experience for me that not many people are going to have that platform in their career. So it was amazing, and I do thank the BBC for my time there. And I thank them for giving me the inspiration to set up the Keeping the Rave Alive brand, which really took my career to the next level. So now you know about the bureaucracy that was going on with the BBC Radio 1 show. You can imagine when I first started the first episode of the Keeping the Rave Live podcast, I was ready to burst with tracks with horrific language in it. So I wanted to indulge myself on the very first track of the very first episode, and I played the Organ Donors mix of Knife Party Internet Friends. I thought that'd be a fun way to start the show 10 years later, and I will give you a warning about the bad language, not because management are pressing me, but because I'm also a parent now and I'm aware that many people listen to the show with kids in the car. So this is coming from me, not from upper management. You might want to skip on 5 minutes. I've still got it, haven't I? I can still do the corporate thing. Let's get into the music. It's Kutski, a decade of rave here on Keeping the Rave Alive. Let's do it.
Keeping the rave alive. I know you're getting my messages, you pussy hole. I sent you 500 emails. I can be your best friend or your worst nightmare. And now your family is bang in trouble. I'm giving you one last chance. Answer your fucking phone, you mug, before I start spreading rumors. You don't want to fuck with me. You blocked me on Facebook, and now I'm going to commit suicide. Actually, fuck it. Only 4 people on Facebook are your friends anyway. I am going to turn to heroin and tell all your friends how small your dick is. And now I'm going to make you listen to the fucking Organ Donors shit music.
Jesus fucking Christ, leave me the fuck alone. You fucked all my friends behind my back. You fucking bunny boiler. I have a new girlfriend who gives better head than you. I've been ignoring you. I blocked you on Facebook because you're a fucking psycho bitch. Fucking message. I blocked you on Facebook. You're a fucking psycho bitch.
You blocked me on Facebook, and now I'm going to cut off my fake tits and use them as headphones. Remember that coke I gave you? You thought it was coke. Well, it was rat poison. Rat poison, I tell ya.
Ya dirty, squeaky, good-for-nothing rat poison bitch.
You even look like a rat.
You were like a sack of potatoes in bed.
If you don't unblock me, I am going to spike your drink with Rohypnol.
Now fucking leave me alone, you slut.
You blocked me on Facebook, and now I'm going to club you to death with a 12-inch black rubber cock. Wear my knickers for a year. Summon the power of Grayskull. Microwave your MacBook Pro. Make your life hell. I'm a fucking psycho bitch.
Jesus, you're a fucking psycho bitch. Get the fucking message.
I'm a fucking psycho bitch.
You're a fucking psycho bitch.
Here is one of the moments that you love to hate me, and you hate you love me so. Because everything simple gets complicated when we don't talk no more. And I understand that you feel this way, and I'm sorry for my actions yesterday, but I can't turn back the fucking time, and I can't get it out of my mind. I wish life was like A, B, just as easy as 1, 2, 3. A, B, just as easy as 1, 2, 3.
Get into your own little space and lose it.
And you're listening to Keeping the Rave Alive Radio.
It's Kutski in the mix, Keeping the Rave Alive, celebrating a decade of rave, 10 years of the Keeping the Rave Alive brand. You've just heard a track by MKN, and we're about to go into a track from Zani, specifically these two artists, because of an amazing party that we had over in Northern Ireland together as part of our Keeping the Rave Alive tour. Anybody in Northern Ireland is going to know the legendary dance music venue Kelly's, or Lush as it's also known. This was for more cooler music, can I say? You know, like it was one of the biggest clubs in Northern Ireland, and they had all the biggest names, you know, techno, trance, house. I'd managed to twist the promoter's arm a couple of times a year to open on the Friday nights and let me just play there, and we did pretty good numbers, you know, as a solo show, just little old Kutski playing there, but it wasn't affecting anything that they were doing because their primary night was a Saturday night. As things were getting stronger and we were starting to do tours with the Keeping the Rave Alive brand, we'd managed to blag them to let us have a Saturday night, so obviously taking one of the big sellout nights out the diary, and it was on us. So we had to book a couple of friends, of course, pad out the lineup a little bit with that, didn't we? Big venue to fill. So we got MKN, of course, the Welsh reverse bass legend, and DJ Zani, the Dutch pioneer of hardstyle. I've never been so nervous before an event, because what I didn't realise is they didn't sell tickets to the event. It was just kind of like it was pay on the door. So I'm sitting there all day, like trying to, hang out and act cool with Zani and MKN. And I'm thinking, I don't know whether there's going to be like 30 people or 1,500 people. It's like I've like no idea what to expect. Luckily, as soon as the doors opened, it was queuing around the block. An absolutely incredible night. And anybody would know in a scenario where you are nervous that something's going to go bad and it goes better than you could possibly imagine. And there's also a lot of alcohol available to you. Your boy Kutski might have had a few too many gin and tonics by the end of the night. I think we all had, to be honest. But I remember seeing Kyle, MKN, in the morning, and he was proper rough. He made me feel better about myself. And Zani came marching downstairs, and I was like, oh, how'd you feel, man? He's like, yeah, I'm absolutely perfect, mate. Feel fine, great. Which I'm not sure whether I believe. I mean, he did have his sunglasses on in the car all the way to the airport, and it was not sunny outside. It says a lot, doesn't it? Anyone that knows me knows that I'm not the biggest party animal, and I think that was the last time that I got that drunk in a venue. I woke up in bed the next day, didn't remember going to bed, and I was thinking, well, at least I managed to make it to bed okay. Pulled the blanket off me, and I was still fully clothed with my trainers on. So yeah, we've all been there. So next up, we're going to play a track by the legend that is Zani, while I get, cold chills thinking about that hangover. It's Kutski in the mix, keeping the rave alive.
It's DJ Kutski in the mix.
Well, hello out there. Y'all look like y'all having a good time. Are you having a good time? Are you having a good time? Well, let me tell you about the good time I had. I was at this club one night. The DJ was making the people go crazy. And when I say crazy, I mean crazy. And you know what? I think the reason he was making them go crazy was because of his big fat bass.
Cocaine, LSD, ecstasy. Imagine yourself that everything comes true what your dream said. Dance with me, dance with us, dance with me. Dance on cocaine, LSD, ecstasy.
Cause I pull it to the left, pull it to the right. Massive song we never uptight. Want everybody just feel alright. Pull it to the left, pull it to the right. Cause I pull it to the left, pull it to the right. Massive song we never uptight. Want everybody just feel alright. Pull it to the left, pull it to the right. Left, right, 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 left, right. Yes, here we go.
next number, I'd like to return to the classics.
I can see all the stars just shine on me when I dream a little fantasy. When I fly in the sky with a bird so high, and it makes me feel like ecstasy. Feels like ecstasy in my fantasy. Will this feeling last forever when I dream my little fantasy? Na 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 The bass is open, the party is jumping. I got the rhymes to keep your body pumping, to keep you rocking. That's what I intend of. It's ain't number one on the sweet tea agenda. I'm gonna break it down so you can see the skillful way I recite my poetry. Quick as a flash, I pop up on the scene. Break out the Casio and the drum machine.
Exploration of space.
track you've just heard in the background, Soundrush, Take Me Back. Soundrush I first met when they played for our Keeping the Rave Alive event in Germany many moons ago. I'm still very proud to have been one of the first promoters to have booked those guys. Obviously gone on to do great things. I absolutely loved their track Take Me Back, and we'd featured it on our 170 feature, you know, when we crank up the BPMs of tracks to see if they sound good like happy hardcore. So I asked them if I could do a remix of the track. I got in the studio with the legend that is Darren Styles, and we came up with a very cool remix. Contacted the record label that the original was on, Scantrax, and asked if they were interested in releasing it. They said that they really liked the track, but they didn't think it was a fit for the Scantrax label. So was there any other record labels that would be interested in licensing it to release the remix? And this was a point that me and my manager Phil thought would be a great opportunity to launch a record label for the Keeping the Rave Alive brand. And that's exactly what we did. It started out just to be an easy outlet for tracks that, you know, record labels weren't sure about, more experimental tracks by myself, and it was just like an outlet just to be able to put out whatever music I wanted. And then slowly over time, more of my friends and other producers were contacting me and going, would you be interested in putting this track out or interested in releasing that track? And I never really had any grand ambitions to, you know, be a record label owner or anything like that. But, you know, if the shoe fits, we just kind of ran with it, and things have been very successful. But next up, I want to play the remix of Soundrush, Take Me Back, where it all started, the release on KTRA Records, #1.
It's DJ Kutski in the mix. Hey, this is Darren Styles, keeping the rave alive with Kutski.
It's taking me back.
Take
So earlier I was telling you about a really big event that we did in Northern Ireland. I think it was our first, big major event in a huge club. But of course, you can't just walk into venues like that and do it. I want to tell you a little bit about the first ever Keeping the Rave Alive event we ran. It was in Leeds, and it was on, I can't remember exactly what it was, but there was a bad weekend in the diary, where you're not going to get any bookings. It was just a dud weekend. So I was talking with my manager, Phil, again, and we were thinking maybe we could get a venue and just do our own show and see if anybody turns up. And then it seemed like the perfect opportunity to tie the Keeping the Rave Alive brand into it, to see if anybody would have been interested to come to any raves. So like I said, it was a bad date on that weekend, so I'd hit up Gammer as well, who also didn't have a booking that night, and asked him if he'd be interested in coming and playing for us there, which he very kindly did. I'm not going to lie and say, we blew the doors off the place and stuff. I mean, the venue must have held, 300-400 people, and we probably had about 200-250 in there, which is good. It's very respectable. And more so bragging about, we sold out, more than that type of thing. I was just secretly low-key buzzing about the amazing vibe that there was there. I like to think we represent a very open, welcoming side to the rave scene with what I do on the Keeping the Rave Alive show. And it was just nice to know that that could also be translated into live events. And that's what gave me the excitement about doing more tours in the future. So I wanted to mark that first ever event by dropping a track by my good friend Gammer. Coming up next, this is A New Feeling.
Keeping the rave alive. Kutski.
DJ Gammer representing UK Hardcore. No, don't call it UK Hardcore, that's stupid.
gets too tight, it's time to unwind. Forget all your problems and leave them behind. There's only one goal, let's lose control. Just let it take over your body and soul. We're not gonna break, no, we're not gonna fall. Stay true to the music, this is a call. It's going down tonight, it's going down tonight. No worries right now, the weekend is here. Let go of your thoughts and let go of your fears. It's going down tonight, it's going down. No worries right now. Let go of your thoughts and let go of your fears. It's going down tonight.
Okay, so far I've been telling you all these amazing stories about how great everything's gone with keeping the Rave alive brand. Do you want to know a story about something that still sends me under every time I think about it? It was when we were running a party in LA. I'm trying to think exactly what the lineup was. Obviously it was myself, I think Zani was over for that one with us as well, Dr. Rude and Breeze. I definitely remember Breeze was playing because the end of his set will stick with me until the day I die. It was a great event, it was busy. All the DJs played amazing sets. I played a little bit earlier in the night. I enjoyed Dr. Rude's set, I enjoyed Zani's set. And we also did a competition there. There was a Nintendo Wii in the corner with Mario Kart set up. And we'd ran a competition that said, kind of like, anybody that won it gets to, play me at Mario Kart. So I'm thinking, right, well, let's go, we can relax now a little bit. So I'm there playing Mario Kart. I'm enjoying Breeze's set, everything's going great, and then all of a sudden I hear the sound system in the club stutter, and then silence, and I'm thinking, has Breeze had a couple too many drinks this time, and has he pressed the wrong button? I'm like, or is there something wrong with the sound system, and it's shut off? So I stand up, I turn around, I looked at the DJ booth, no turntables. I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, what could possibly have happened in the space of like 5 seconds? So I go rushing over there and I see the entire table where the DJ decks and everything are on right on the floor at the front of the dance floor. And I don't mean like neatly stacked or anything, I mean it's just like chaos. Apparently what had happened is some guy, still to this day we don't know exactly why, I think he must have just been off his head or something, had climbed up onto the stage to have a little dance and then grabbed hold of all the cables and decided to stage dive back into the crowd, taking the entire DJ setup with him. The reason why I know that this was exactly what happened is because somebody was filming Breeze's set at the time and caught the whole thing on camera. And then that was the end of the night. Obviously, luckily there was only about 10 minutes left often. You know, Breeze saw the funny side of the situation with it, and, you know, nobody kicked off too much. But I woke up the next day, and of course that video had gone viral, and still to this date, that's probably the most viewed video on anything Keeping the Rave Alive related. So something to be proud of, I guess. So to commemorate one of my less proud moments, I'd like to play a track by the man himself, Breeze, with an appropriately named track, Raving Drug. Don't do drugs, kids, or at least if you are going to do them, please don't pull the entire DJ set up into the crowd when you do.
Kutski, you pussy motherfucker!
Raving Drug.
Atmosphere
Hope you've enjoyed the show. One last track and a nice little anecdote, I think, to end the show. I'm going to play a track by Darren Styles and reminisce about a very cool tour that I played out in America as part of the Keeping the Rave Alive brand with Darren. We played Minneapolis, Minnesota. We played in Texas. There was an LA show, I think, on that tour. No one pulled the decks into the crowd on that one. We were out there for 10 days, like 2 weekends. The thing that I remember the most was the time that we had to chill during the week in between the 2 weekends. No, I don't need to tell you what a legend Darren Styles is, within the dance music industry. I mean, his history from a very young age as Force and Styles, the Breeze and Styles era, and then the Darren Styles era. I've always really looked up to Darren, obviously from a musical career standpoint, but also from a personal point as well, because anyone that's had the pleasure of ever meeting Darren will know what an absolutely amazing person he is. We spent a lot of time just hanging out that week, just going shopping malls. I think we went to an ice hockey game and stuff like that, just chatting about stuff, chatting about music, the world, life in general. And the one thing that I did notice was how dedicated he was as a family man, obviously to his wife and his children. You could clearly tell, like, as dedicated and passionate as he was about music, you could tell it was always family first for him. At the time, I'm single, living on my own, so I'm like listening to what Darren's telling me with admiration, but it didn't really apply to me at the time. This was probably about 6 or 7 years ago now. Obviously, my circumstances have changed a lot now, being married and having a little baby boy who is actually 1 year old this week. I do find myself thinking back to a lot of the conversations that I had with Darren then in a new perspective, like how to balance career with family life and stuff like that. And when my little baby boy was born, Darren did send me a message congratulating me and saying that he's no expert, but he's always there if I wanted any advice about DJ parenting. Very humble of him to say, but I do think that he is actually the blueprint that any DJ parents should follow. I hope he doesn't listen to this, otherwise it's going to be proper awkward next time I see him gushing over so much. But yeah, absolute true legend, and I wanted to end the mix on a very positive note with this track from Darren Styles, Us Against the World.
DJ Kutski, beats stronger than kryptonite.
Yeah, I'm lost and numb, cold to the touch. I pretend like I don't remember your name. Every masterpiece turns to blasphemy. When I close my eyes, yeah, I still see your face. We were the thunder and the lightning, burning fire started from a spark. I would spend you just to watch you twirl. It was us against the world. You were the rain falling on my skin. Yeah, I was dying when you pulled me in. I was your rebel and you were my girl. It was us against the world. Yeah, I'm pale gray, all dust and fade. When I call for you, all I hear back is pain. Every song must end, even diamonds fade. When the darkness comes, I'll count up my mistakes. We were the thunder and the lightning, burning fire that started from a spark. I would spend you just to watch you twirl. It was us against the world.
there we go, a little recap of the history of the Keeping the Rave Alive brand. Hope you enjoyed the show, something a little bit different, very talk heavy. I know some people would rather just listen to the music, but there's always the fast forward button, isn't there? And I was thinking, it's like there's been a lot of landmark occasions, and I didn't want to just keep going, and here's another, mix full of the best tracks over the last 10 years, and here's I thought something a little bit different. So do let me know if you enjoyed this. I've actually been thinking about setting up more of a spoken podcast, just going through some of the stories about raves over the years. So yeah, let me know if that's something that would interest you as well, because it's something that I've toyed with the idea of doing over the years as well. Before we get out of here, I want to give a couple of shout outs for the people who've supported me with the virtual beers over at the website beer.keepingtheravealive.com, link in the description. I'm sure you know the score by now. It's basically just a tip. If you enjoy the show, you could buy me a beer, and that does help us cover things like server costs and stuff like that. So I want to say a big shout out to Robert, saying keep the beats going, bought me a virtual beer. Thank you very much, Robert. Also shout out to Mike, saying thanks for the amazing tunes. Krupinski wants a shout out from Missouri, out in America, saying your podcasts keep me going when I'm biking in the heartland. This makes up for all the times that I meant to buy you a beer and forgot, and bought me a big old bunch of beers. So thank you very much, Krupinski. Massively appreciate that. Thank you. Very generous. Shouts to Aaron and Nicole that want a shout out to the Cleethorpes crew, saying that they missed myself and Alex Kidd at the Gathering last year due to work, and am I coming back this year? I don't know yet, but I hope so. I had a great time last year, so fingers crossed. That was one of my first raves back after the pandemic, so it'll be nice to enjoy it a little bit more relaxed this year, I think, won't it? Fingers crossed. Thanks Aaron and Nicole, appreciate the support. Big up to Luke, saying he's been listening since the Radio 1 days with Judge Jules. Keep the rave alive. Thanks for the long time support, Luke, appreciate that one. And lastly, a shout out to Freaky Boy, who says he loved my scooter retrospective on Twitch last week. Cheesy beats, but a great laugh and good banter. Nice work, buddy. Yeah, thanks. That was good fun, that was listener requested, let's say. But you know what? I really enjoyed it. It's still back up on Twitch, but I think half of it got muted. Worth checking out anyway, twitch.tv/Kutski. And thank you, Freaky Boy, for the support. Again, if you do want to support me and what I do with the Keeping the Rave Alive brand, and we can keep things going for many, many years to come, Patreon's a great way to do it. As I mentioned at the start of the show, patreon.com/KTRA. Or if you just like to chuck over a couple of quid, virtual beers are a great way to do that as well. beer.keepingtheravealive.com, link in the description. Right, I'll be back on the show, same time, same place next week, and many, many more weeks to come. Until then, it's Kutski signing out. Keep the rave alive. Thank you for listening for a decade.